look, I'm going to start this session today on Unlock Your Acumatica. Today's session is we're lucky enough to have Weka Online with us, who obviously an e-commerce platform that talks to MYOB Acumatica. So it's great. It's going to be great to hear some insights and see a bit of see some insights of what's happening in the e-commerce space and integration into MYOB Acumatica and how that can assist our clients. So if you are new to attending these sessions or have attended them in the past, as you may know, all these sessions that we do host on a monthly basis is about how we get more power out of our MYOB Acumatica system. Now, this might be looking at the core platform itself, and these sessions sort of do go over different parts of systems like GIs and the finance, payroll, and the supply chain side of things. But sometimes we also look at how we can get more out of the system by, integrating with the independent software vendors, or the ISVs, as it's sort of shortened to. So today's session, as you can see, Weka Online is one of our obviously third-party applications that we do look at when it comes to e-commerce and integration into MYOB Acumatica. So today, lucky on the call, I have Richard from Weka. He's the partner and customer manager for Weka Online. So he'll be doing a lot of the bulk of the conversation. So welcome to Richard. He'll be leading us through the Weka program a little bit later. But just as a bit of an icebreaker to the session, I guess one of the things that we see that with a lot of we'll put a poll up a little bit later as well. But basically, what we'd like you to answer is just where you guys are on the journey of e-commerce. What's your e-commerce journey today? And from a customer experience focus, what do you think the biggest challenge is in e-commerce or for larger organisations adopting e-commerce? And then basically just keep it a little bit light and fun as well. I mean, I know a lot of us here are, interacting with online shopping and all that sort of stuff. So just give us a little bit of feedback on, how often you do online shopping would be great as well. Also, what's the future outlook? Whereabouts are you guys in your journey of e-commerce, and having a look at where, in the next 12 months, what are the things that you'd like to try and, integrate or offer to your clients from an e-commerce point of view? What we do find is that for a lot of our clients that are using MYOB Acumatica is that they're typically larger, bigger organisations, and for sometimes it is a little bit harder to pivot and move. So e-commerce might be not in your roadmap of services that you offer to clients at the moment, but it's probably something that you are going to look at. How do we start increasing sales, or how do we increase services to our clients through an online platform, and not, necessarily look at brick and mortar. We see a lot of, as a consumer in the market, I see a lot of these, startup businesses that are doing a lot of drop shipments directly from from the manufacturers in China and stuff like that, selling products online, using social media and great advertising to attract people to the website. And I think for a lot of our organisations that we deal with, they're a lot larger in size. So to just roll out an e-commerce platform is seen to be a challenge in the past. And there's a lot of effort, and maybe you've dabbled in that space and it's been just a little bit hard to get started. That's where today I'm going to hand over to Richard, and he's going to sort of demonstrate how easy it is to look at how you can get an e-commerce platform integrated with your website and really start integrating that with MYOB Acumatica to really start growing that online presence. So I'll hand over to Richard now. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so he can share his. So welcome, Richard. I'll hand over to you and let you go from there.
Yeah, thanks so much, Adam. I'll just bring this up to a full screen. Yeah, we really like working with AlphaBiz. You're so good at what you guys do, so I really appreciate you guys having us today. And thanks to you all for coming. Really appreciate your time as well. I am keen to learn a lot more about yourselves, your journey, where you're at with your business. It might be that you're strictly B2B, taking orders the classic ways? Are you thinking of kind of going B2C, or you might, as Adam was saying, sort of a drop shipping idea? So I hope this is relevant to you today. We've also got that poll up, as Adam was saying, so definitely have a look at that. And as I said, at any time, definitely jump in. We have a Q&A session at the end, but definitely jump in. Anything that might be relevant to you, I really hope it is. What we're going to do is firstly look at who are we, who is Weka Online, some challenges and benefits of e-commerce websites, our integration and our products, some of the customer results, some of the real results that they've seen from implementing this. And I'll go through a bit of a demo, talk about what our Weka Success program is, and then we'll have a dedicated Q&A after that. So firstly, kind of who is Weka Online? I'm Richard Wilson. My background is in typically kind of branding design. Working in New Zealand for one of the larger kind of branding design companies gave me an idea of kind of the voice that you get when you're a brand starting out. And obviously then as time progressed, websites became the key kind of point of contact for people. And that led me to work for Weka Online. Starting out in New Zealand, we've moved to Australia and now moving into the US market. And now realizing that everything's connected. We've been doing integration for 8 or 9 years now, and really focusing on how can we help businesses adopt these systems to make their businesses more streamlined. And so that kind of brings us to where we're at today with Weka Online. So we help businesses connect their ERP systems and e-commerce websites or platforms. We build custom integrations that make everyday work easier, save time, cut costs, and eliminate errors, and help with handshakes along the way. So we work in a wide range of industries, mostly in manufacturing, wholesale, and distribution. But we offer specialized solutions within those areas for building, electrical, workwear, and medical. So we've done many implementations with systems and functionalities through our great development team. And they tell me they can pretty much create anything. So that's pretty awesome when you get an open platform to be able to say we can pretty much create anything that you like. And so if your business fits into one of these industries, a building, electrical, workwear, medical, we definitely can help answer some of those challenges that you have when you're looking at having your products out there and how to sell those products to the right people. Now, some of the challenges and benefits of these, initially, challenges of e-commerce websites was, well, before that even, people still take orders over the phone and email, and that inherently kind of creates problems because you're having a very slow process. Even if your website is service-based and you might have contact forms, those contact forms have still got to go somewhere, which creates a step in between you being able to contact the customer. You have to enter that detail manually into your ERP, and then get back to the customer and have another phone call. So a lot of issues with still a lot of e-commerce websites is that the data is set on the website, and then you've got your ERP data sitting over here, and they're not talking to each other and updating. So that creates inventory management issues, because the customer might have ordered 3 or 4 of these things, you don't have it available, then you're going to have some time to bring that into your warehouse and so on and so forth. So that creates order processing delays. Also, when you are thinking of integrating and keeping these systems talking to each other, there can often be multiple platforms that have to talk to each other. So that's a challenge. What are the best platforms to use? What are the good tools that integrate with MYOB Acumatica? And how can we solve those problems? And you obviously then, in terms of getting, maintaining accurate financial records, because it all plays into that. So obviously if there's manual things going on here, manual things going on here, that can cause problems with your financial records and your end of month. And, that can be a massive pain for a lot of people. And this all culminates to customer satisfaction. Are your customers actually having a good experience with you, with how they order through you? Do you have somewhere at the moment that they're ordering and they're finding it frustrating? A lot of the time, customers won't say that they're finding dissatisfaction with things. And so one of our things, and I'll talk about this later on, I'll unpack it later, is our Weka Success program, which is really getting all of those things out there on the table rather than just having disgruntled customers and constantly fixing issues and having to say sorry. So some of the benefits of integrating and with Weka Online is you get real-time inventory and order synchronization. So we're talking about products from your ERP getting sent across to the website in real time, updating inventory, pricing, structures, all those sorts of things very easily and quickly. Now, this eliminates manual data entry because the sales orders then get processed straight back into the correct customer. in the sales orders area, and then invoices then again, once that's processed into an invoice, gets sent right back through to the website as well. So those are all happening automatically. And again, this reduces errors on financial reporting because you're not having to update and change things. It happens automatically. So there's no need to kind of have any manual, person entering each of these separately. And obviously this then enhances the customer experience. Customer then gets things happening a lot quicker. They can see updates happening to their order quickly, payment things, shipping, all of these things culminate to a better customer experience and also an improved stock visibility for them as well. So whereas before, you might have to sort of have called up and say, have you got any of these? You can tell them exactly how much and actually allocate specific customers, specific amounts of products, especially if they're larger orders, so that they can then never have a run out of products that they need as they go. And this all helps your team. This helps your marketing team. It helps your accounts team. This helps your warehouse team, management team. So they can then focus and move on to the things that are actually more important to your business about growth. How can we be growing? How can we streamline our processes? And automation and integration helps all of this. And we've seen this in some of our results, which I'll talk to a bit later on. So then, all of your team can focus on the positive things, growing your business rather than saying sorry to my customers all the time. And also, there's a whole lot more beyond this, just pure integration. As I was talking about, you can connect a whole plethora of other apps to your website that can have your products put up on other platforms. There's a whole lot of things, you can do with, MailChimp, Klaviyo. There's a whole lot of different things with your campaigning that can all be automatically integrated with MYOB Acumatica also. So you can communitize. I think I've made up a word there, but you can communitize your website and, your ERP to do a lot more for you. So part 3, integration in our products. This gets more into the nitty gritty, so I'll deep dive a bit more into kind of what we're talking about specifically. So what data and media can actually sync with MYOB Acumatica? So we've got stock items. A lot of you may not be using these areas a lot. You may be mostly in the kind of financial area, managing possibly your key customers and, payments and that sort of thing, but you're not looking at how can I get some more areas of MYOB Acumatica working for me. And you may have some inventory, you may have some stock items, but getting those syncing automatically back and forward from a website, you can have all of the details, going automatically without you having to kind of change. So you have one area of all your information, and the website's basically just the portal. So what can sync through is your inventory ID, description, MSRP, sales prices, description tab, item sales categories, which turn into the categories on the website, which can be automatically updated and changed through the navigation. Attributes, which actually is a really large part of what we do, because attributes can be created and changed for many different uses. And I'll go through a couple of those later as well, as I sort of show you physically a little bit of a demo. And images. So you can actually have your images stored in MYOB Acumatica also, and not have to have those be updated and changed in 2 places. And also bringing across to the e-commerce platform can be customers. So you can have the company name, customer name, billing address, shipping address, the contacts within that you can bring through. There's a whole lot more you can do in terms of structure. You can have approval managers, site managers. You can have people who can only see orders, then some can approve them. So you can have systems within that create the structure that you need. And this has been, done and pushed further, a lot. So we've seen this really pushed as far as it can kind of go. And one of the key ones for customers is customer price classes, so that they're going to be able to see the prices that are special to them or special to that class that you have set up in MYOB Acumatica. And then obviously from the website, when someone makes a sale, makes an order, that gets sent automatically through to, back to MYOB Acumatica with that customer detail being correct, all of their bill to shipping to details that they may have updated correct, any notes that they may have on that order. There's a notes area. It brings through all the inventory IDs, so it fills in exactly what, possibly there might be a line description within that. It can fill in what detail has been added there, the quantity, unit price, and the payment method, and also shipping details as well. But you can actually have shipping details work in a few different ways as well. Now, in terms of our experience, we have in-depth experience with MYOB Acumatica. We have a team of developers that can pretty much create anything, as I said. So we pride ourselves on being able to be the yes people. When you might have an issue, with any technical difficulties you may have had with other platforms. We actually were awarded App of the Year this year, which is really, really cool to see MYOB sort of liking what we're doing. Our key e-commerce platforms that we like to use is WooCommerce and Shopify. Those two being the most comprehensive when it comes to the amount of data that can be synced back and forward. So I would definitely, if you're thinking of going down the journey of looking at how to sell, where to sell my products, definitely think about how much growth you're going to want to do, because there are some limitations. Cheaper isn't always better when it comes to some of these easier online platforms, because you run into problems and start having to get premium pricing, premium plugins, and that can really add to your monthly costs. So, definitely talk to Adam and the team at AlphaBiz around what you're thinking of. And definitely, they'll be able to provide the solution for what type of data you're going to need, and then we can help you with the solution of where you should put that. Now, looking at our actual products, we have a product called Weka One. Now, this is B2B and B2C. So it can start off as a B2B product where your B2B customers can log in, reorder, have favorite orders, have all of their orders set there, all their pricing is correct. They can have themselves and their contacts within their team. You can have all their pricing structure working well. So this includes the platform and the integration. It's fully responsive. And this one actually has a fully complete website that you can actually completely edit yourself. So a big fan of something, because I'm not a developer myself, being able to actually drag and drop elements in like you may have done with MailChimp. This is kind of how this works. So, you can have your own design and development company already. You may already have. We can totally work with them. That's completely fine. You can use your current website as well. That may not be something that you might know is also, depending on how your current website is built, we can plug in that B2B area to it. And obviously, because it's already a website, the B2C element is inherent. You can create that B2C and then just have some rules around it. You can have it where they have to log in to see pricing. If you don't want, anybody not logged in to be able to see even just the retail pricing. You can have it where you can see the retail pricing, but they log in to see special, B2B pricing, trade pricing. So there's all sorts of different options you can have within this. And also we can then duplicate your website and host it. So if you actually wanting to make improvements to your current website, but you might like some of the aspects of it, we can work with that depending on how it's built. Do design upgrades to that look and feel, or design a completely new website and develop it for you as well. So these are all options within that product to be able to do. Now, the more B2B aspect of this Weka One, trade customers can place orders, manage their customer accounts. There's also trade account billing and shipping details. This obviously, sales pricing is one of the key ones, and also discounts are all derived from MYOB Acumatica. View invoices, they can pay invoices, manage contacts and addresses. So there's a whole lot that can cater to that more B2B customer base as well. Now, in terms of actual customer results, what we've seen from customers who have actually adopted this, well, PowerTech have had an amazing 78% increase in web sales since adopting integration with Weka Online, which is pretty phenomenal. So they've obviously really happy with how that's going for them. Discount Trader have saved 1,750 admin hours, saved annually. So you can imagine what you and your team can do with 1,750 hours extra to be able to focus on growth and how else to get your brand and your products out there. Patella have had an amazing 100% growth since adopting our platform and changing their website into an integrated website. They've actually gone on to create, these guys are in the architecture industry, so they're doing joinery bathroom materials of a very high end. Some of their products are beautiful if you go online and have a look at them. And their key audience is actually architects. So architects go online and they can have a really complex quoting form where they can create a house, choose the different floor or the room that they might be located in, choose the door that they're going to be adding that product to and how much they would like to add to. And it remembers previous quotes. They can reorder those quotes. there's all sorts of different development solutions that you might be thinking of. So these are kind of just the basics that I'm talking about today, but I'd be really keen to see kind of, if you've got any ideas of some of the products that you're looking at that you might be wanting to sell. Mobility Center, they've had a 98% inventory accuracy. So as you said, that cuts down 98% of the issues they were having before with their inventory, and how mistakes are being made within the company. So that brings me to the integration demo and Weka success. Now, what I'm going to be talking about today is, again, just a pretty basic run through of stock items, the details, pricing, attributes, and how that syncs from MYOB Acumatica to the website. Customers, same sort of thing, the details and pricing, and syncing, sales orders with MYOB Acumatica. So what I'm going to do here is quickly switch over, and you'll be able to see this Weka One platform here. So as I said, this is what comes standard with the products. You've got a dashboard that completely and easily customize. It actually has account summary, so your open orders balance, what your credit limit is, so your remaining credit, invoice history and order history. There's things like brand collateral, so if you're still doing things the old school way, you've got a few kind of catalogs and that sort of thing that you'd like to add, you can add them in there. Product categories, that's those item sales categories which your products are under. And I'll just go quickly through the pages. There's a products page here, which actually has a quick order view. This might be a lot better for some people with these indicators for stock that I was talking about. You can have either indicator or actually the full stock view. It goes through small, medium, large, what colors, and they can just add, increase that there, and it sort of adds up their price. You can see how you can see the standard wholesale price and then what price they are seeing. So that shows you the difference between the two. But I like that shop view because I like to be a bit more visual. There's an order history page. You can go through and see all of your orders and what status they're at. And then that turns into invoices. You can go through and see what invoices are there. Quotes. There's a team management area, which is yourself and your contacts. Obviously address management, and then that brand collateral section that I was talking about. What I'm actually going to do is go over to products, and I want to search for one called Weka. And I'm going to look for this one called Weka Mobile. Now, as you can see, pretty much like any shop page, it has the full shop view like this. And I'm only showing you this view because this is how you can see how the details change. So I've got a description, got a price, the SKU, a long description, and some related items, and a product image there. And what I'm going to do is jump over to our demo copy of Acumatica, and I'm going to go over to the stock items and inventory. Now, you might be familiar with this side of things in terms of how this looks. I'm actually searching for mobile. It's already remembered that I've searched that one. And what I'm going to do here is just show you kind of some of the areas that actually connect. Obviously, ours are built on the inventory ID is what drives the unique product. It's built on the unique inventory ID and the short description. We do pull through the basic costs, but one of the areas that we really get into is this attributes area. This one here has just got a basic one on, which is just display on web. So this one, when it's ticked and saved, triggers the website to be able to show only those products. It gets a whole lot more complicated than just this. You can have them per customer. You can have specific details of products coming through, all sorts of different ranges, being able to have customer-specific products, customer-specific brands, all sorts of different things this can be used for. And I'm sure Adam and the team will be able to help you if you were going down the path of looking at doing an e-commerce website with integration of what kinds of areas of data would be best for you. Item sales categories, as I said, that shows them on this page and shows you the image there that gets synced across as well. We do also sync the longer description here, but I'm going to go back over to general. And because at the moment today we've got this phone's going to be the AlphaBiz edition. Just going to save that. And what that does is trigger a push notification. So anytime I actually save a product, in Acumatica, it triggers that push notification to save that product, and then that gets pushed across to the website automatically. Now, because this is the AlphaBiz edition today that we're saving, this one actually has sales prices. And again, you may know about this previously, but you can have different types of sales prices. This one obviously is a customer-specific sales price, but I'm looking for this one that's changed by this customer class here, so customer price class. And this one's on deal 50. So because today we're doing a special on this phone for AlphaBiz customers, this one's actually $9.70, and I'm going to save that. And again, that uses that push notification to save that directly over to the website. And what I'm going to do is go back to this website, and upon refresh, you'll be able to see that that changes to the AlphaBiz edition and changes that price to $9.70 as well. So that's how kind of that works. I'm logged in as this customer who's actually on deal 50. This product actually allows you to switch between users, so you can kind of choose a user to switch between or become the admin. Because I'm an admin user, I can actually switch to everybody's accounts and see how all of theirs is going. You can actually order for them if you like, and that's how we get into sales rep ordering systems and that sort of thing as well. And I'll just go and show you kind of how that, where that's placed. You probably already know this one too, but in customers, I'm going to be looking for a Weka customer. It's actually already remembered my search. I'm going to find this one here. And the actual price class sits under the shipping tab and can be created in there. But you can also go through a whole sales pricing list. That might be the way that you normally navigate through. And so that's kind of how that works. That identifies that I'm using this customer on deal 50, and that brings that across and changes that to that. Now, in terms of creating an order, what I'm going to do, I'm happy with this product, so I'm going to order a couple of these, add them to my cart. And I'll go over to view the cart. And again, you have all sorts of pricing options and shipping options and that sort of thing, for pricing, for shipping and that sort of thing. Again, this is just a simple one. Payment options as well. Obviously, this one's just on account, so I'm just going to place that order just on account payment, so it'll send that through. And that's created that order. Now, that order gets sent automatically through to MYOB Acumatica and also creates an order in the order history. So we'll see if I refresh that, that's going to create the order and it's going to have that status in a sec. Just refresh that, change the date. Where are we? There we go. Refresh that one. Sometimes the order on the thing's actually a bit slower. But I'll go through to MYOB Acumatica and you'll be able to see that sales order. That's come through as today's date. So you can see how this is already streamlining your processes so much more. Everything's happening automatically between the two and upon refresh. So that one's there, that's ordered under that customer. And I'm going to go through and quickly process that order and see if that's come through. Actually, ironically, the portal is slower to show the order. There we go, it's finally come through saying processing. Now that's saying processing, obviously that's matching the status that's in here. And when I go through quick process, I'm just going to do this quickly today. I won't go through the long-winded way just to get this happening. As that's happening, I'll just talk about other things you can do. So in terms of stock showing on the website, you can have those indicators, as I said, so that you don't need to show the full stock, or if you do want to show the full stock, you can do that as well. Locations, so you can actually have it by warehouse locations in terms of different shipping options. We do actually integrate with Starship It, is a great one for being able to enter all of your correct couriers into that, and it's a great tool that we can integrate with as well. And in terms of payments, so part for you can have Stripe payments, you can have or an account, you can have all sorts of different payment types working in place. So that's already completed, and I'm going to go over to invoice. And you'll see that latest invoice there, and it's set under credit hold. Now I'll go back over here, and if I refresh the screen, you see that it now says completed for that order, and that invoice will be shown up over here. So now that invoice is there and it's set as credit hold and all the details are correct. So it's pretty much, I didn't want to do a too long-winded demo on that one today, but I'll just quickly jump back over into the screen and go through a couple of last slides for you there. One of the key ones that we're really keen to work with you on is this Weka Success Program. This has been working really well for us. What it is, it's a business growth program with a personal one-on-one time for your BDMs or your consultants with our consultants. So using all of those areas that we know helps with growth, but also having incentivized options internally as well. So helping to grow those interactions on online sales, helping buy-in for everybody as well, and really getting the kind of funness and the interactivity directly within your organization as well. So things like sales team prizes with customer rewards. So actually rewarding your customers for opting into using it, for buying into it and telling other people within the organization to use it as well. Now, this also comes with video training techniques as well, and help toolkits for that sort of thing as well. And so we're finding, this really helps with buy-in, because the last thing you want to do is have a platform like this and then people don't really opt into it or start using it or find issues with it. And in terms of the...
You've got a question on the chat from Denisa.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, so did I understand correctly that the system is fully integrated with StarTrack?
Yeah, so it can be, it's Starship It is the one we do, but depending on what shipping provider you would like, we definitely would suggest Starship It, because that works automatically with MYOB Acumatica. That does require a bit of a setup. You have to put UOMs, weights, and that sort of thing, data into MYOB Acumatica first, and then that gets pulled into. And what the magic of that does is that all your providers, your courier providers, AU Post, all that stuff, works out for the destination, for the package, what's the best way to do that in terms of a best price for which courier would be best to use it. So it does its magic on the side, but it actually integrates with MYOB Acumatica directly. So we choose that one in terms of that.
So the other question is, you're welcome to come off mute as well if you want to ask more verbally. But yeah, what about FedEx and TNT?
Yep, so we do FedEx as well. Basically, it works in another API. So it works where that customer sales order will go through to MYOB Acumatica, but there's an area on the website with the plugin. So it's kind of taking that information and automatically adding it into an order on there. But the trick is you do have to populate it also with your products. There's probably ways in which to kind of do that quickly rather than manually, but it just needs those products and those product weights or other information about sizing and dimensions for it to be able to calculate best providers there. But definitely works with FedEx, AU Post, all the different courier options are generally available, and that's the magic of something like Starship to do that. So yeah, definitely can be done with FedEx.
So Denise, as I say, happy for you to come off mute and ask questions. I guess the understanding, what would nice be understand what you're doing today, and how manual that process is. Would be great to understand that as well.
Totally fine if you want to ask later on as well. Either way, it's good to hear that you're finding some of this stuff interesting. One of the key things that we find as well is our support help desk. Our customers come back to us time and time again for pretty much any question, because we have developers and we know what would be the best solution for things. We find that relationship is great. They keep coming back to us because they're like, oh, Weka knows how to do that. Cool. How do you do that? And it might even be providing the solutions on how they need to, might be, talk to the guys at AlphaBiz for your data, but we can then get that tracking back to your website. So we have support requests anytime via our help desk. You can talk directly with our team. We have developers that you talk to, so they know, exactly what the issue is usually that you're trying to achieve. And you can track progress. They have updates. There's a great knowledge base with guides up there, FAQs and troubleshooting as well. But with that said, obviously that brings us to the end of kind of my part of this. So as I said, if anybody else wants to jump off mute and have an open chat, totally happy to. Or if you want to, wait to chuck it on the poll, or I'm really keen to just sort of hear about more of your business. So totally fine for you to jump in. But if not, we can always keep in touch, and anything that you have, we'll keep those questions there. And as I said, it often is depending on where you're at with your business and what stage you're at. Hopefully you're thinking about these things, because it's rapidly coming this way. And one of the things that MYOB Acumatica is thinking about in general is the AI, how to incorporate AI. And as these things move in, you're going to want your systems to be automating so that it all is happening without you having to do too much manual labor where mistakes can be made.
Yeah. And what would, so I guess, Richard, I guess from my questions, how many of your clients would say have a B2C sort of portal, or B2C at the moment, and You know, do you find that a lot of clients have B2C and it's been sort of poorly sort of set up so far, not integrating with Acumatica, and that's where they're then moving into that B2B portal?
Yeah, kind of one of two ways. Yes, they're either started off as B2B and found that as they kind of grow and source more products, that their suppliers or their their customers tend to kind of open them into that, becoming more larger scale, and so they kind of work out a deal of being more a supplier of their brand, and so they then kind of go, right, well, now we're going to have a B2B scenario. We need to have business pricing. We need to have ease of ordering, their favorites, that sort of stuff, the different needs that more of a business customer would need, or it's the other way around, where they're a B2B customer and they want a B2B portal for their B2B customers, but they're also thinking of going into more of a B2C solution. And also on top of that is the types of things and how they're offering it. We've got a company that does fasteners, and theirs is getting more into other types of things they're offering. It might be custom lengths. It might be printed custom things. So they do a lot of fasteners, and so getting into more custom lengths is something that they had dived into, and that seems to be working quite well. The other thing is obviously custom printed things, for workwear companies. So being able to have uploading a logo and being able to have that positionable. These are all things we've done before. So it's unlimited in terms of how you want these things to integrate. And then obviously those logos then come back through to the sales order into MYOB Acumatica. So you've got that logo there on the sales order. But was anybody else had anything else? Totally feel free to jump in.
I guess the other question is, obviously you mentioned about the success program and how that's there to sort of, continue to, that onboarding process and development of the system. And also you talked about a lot of your stats around, obviously the success of previous clients and what they've been able to achieve. Is there a period of time that you're monitoring their channels of sales and stuff like that through the website and giving them live stats on that information? Is that part of the custom success program?
It is, yeah. No, great question. It's basically that when we implement these things, obviously there could be a phase one where they implement it to a few test customers, and those customers give them a lot of feedback on what could be look and feel, could be ease of ordering, other things that they want to add. And then from that, it would be like, let's launch it to our whole customer base. And in doing so, the whole customer base hasn't really adopted it. Maybe they need to look at how their internal staff are showing them, how they're adapting it themselves, what they're having as issues with using it, rather than letting it kind of sit and just be something that's not used, and then everybody's a bit like, oh, we're not really using it, so let's go back to having a phone order kind of a thing. Yeah. So what we try to do is get in there before that happens and go through a process of making that something where internally people buy into it. So it's creating beneficial sessions where you go through it, and anything that's an issue, we get that fixed developmentally, upgraded. And then we go through another process of trial and error. So it's almost like testing your own app. It's almost like testing your own game. Yeah. You get the few test customers to go through, and they'll say, oh, it works this way, but it'd be cool if we had this. And then they come back and they go, can we do this? And we go, yes. So yeah, it definitely is a process. And what we find over time, once more and more people internally are happy with it and they find, no problems, they're actually really liking it, then they have those positive interactions with their customers, and they say, hey, why don't you jump on and do that on there? You can do those on there now. You can do your project on there now. You can do all your project allocations and all your safety information in this projects area with all your budgets, and all your orders can go to that one project. So it's near endless in terms of how much functionality you can add. But definitely that buy-in, getting the internal staff using it, happy with how it works, and then the customers will be happy with how it works.
Yeah, I was going to sort of be my next sort of point of question is that, sometimes it's a little bit hard for organisations make this journey, and then, they sort of feel like they're letting go a little bit, or how do we get people to use the website more? Mm-hmm. That's sometimes a bit of a challenge. Is like, well, we're going to implement this B2B sort of process for our clients, but how do we get them to use it and not feel like they're losing that point of contact with our business? And I think Australian New Zealand businesses are very, very, very good at being personable and wanting to have that human interaction with their clients. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that letting go of that, or how do we get our clients to find that experience better? And mm-hmm. then that means that our human experience then has a better, it has more meaning than just taking orders.
Yeah, no, we totally get that too, and how we've been able to kind of overcome that exact issue, with less people time. Generally, what would happen is, say, if a company has an order come through for a customer that they're set to, so it might be more like you have within your team, you have people assigned to certain sets of customers to manage them, or a sales rep that's assigned to certain sets of customers who often would obviously take phone calls or might be out on the field doing iPad orders, that sort of stuff. You have them follow up. So it's basically like, because the order's going to come through automatically and clean, you might be able to be following up and saying, yep, hey, thank you so much, Craig, for that order. That's fantastic. Hey, just making sure that you're happy for this. So then you free up your time for the order to be sorted, to then be able to then go back and have that, time, so you're not spending kind of manually entering the order, to have all the information there and all the stuff that they want. So you can just go, yep, cool, and have that quick phone call with all the information there. So you're not having to kind of double check and confirm that that's what they wanted. And that's how you can kind of keep that personal touch back in, because you usually find that you're freed up a bit more from the sort of manual stuff to focus on, a follow-up phone call with them as they make those orders.
Yeah, cool. That's great. And just, obviously, just to delve a little bit deeper into, you do talk about a little bit about services, and I sort of heard you just in that a couple of last points talking about projects and being able to not just use it for selling products, but selling, to helping manage that customer relationship point of view. Is that correct? Like, you can have like project and have like project status updates and, mm-hmm. The billing side of things, where we're at from the billing cycle. Is that where you guys can also assist from a service perspective?
Yeah, exactly. So one of our customers, they're in the construction industry, and they do inner ceiling paneling and all the vents and that sort of stuff for a lot of big building blocks and apartment complexes. And so obviously they need that ordering platform to be a very bulk ordering platform. It might be sort of $50,000 to $100,000 at a time for a big amount of product. And so it almost needs a project started in that case, so that they're going to be allocating all of these to the same address, which will be the job site. They're going to be able to have a system where when that order gets delivered to that job site, the delivery person can take a photo, upload that photo, and also have a place that they can have an overall budget, a time frame, how many orders have, and what the statuses of those orders have been made. And even for things, like safety information around that job site. So we've built a heavily customized portal for that company that needed that. And that's where that kind of testing phase keeps coming in, because obviously when you're implementing something that's that complex, a lot of testing phases need to be able to work, because it needs to be able to work, on the go. They need to be able to have this working on their phones. And so a lot of different areas needed to be working on the phone, that sort of stuff. So that's something that we've implemented for them, and they're loving that feature. It was one of the key aspects for that customer, is being able to have all of that information on the go, rather than having that in different areas.
Cool. Look, I've asked a few questions. We've got a few people still on the call. I don't know if anyone else has any questions they'd like to ask, but yeah. If you want to put them in the chat or come off mute, it's up to you. More than welcome. Look, I think today. Sorry, go on, Richard.
I was just going to say, yeah. Even if you want to put something in later, or you're thinking of something ongoing, we're all totally fine to be following up with these, and anything that you might have that you think of ongoing, totally fine.
Look, I think today's session's been really good. It sort of opened my eyes a little bit more that there is probably a lot more of more scope for our clients around, as I say, we have clients that are in that wholesale distribution, whether it be manufacturing. But then, the other thing is potentially, getting those service clients as well, and how they can better manage that on, that presence or that information flow between their clients as well. So I think there's a lot more scope in learning from today's session that we can offer this out more to clients as well. So thanks for your time today, Richard. It's been really good.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And as I said, if anybody ongoing wants to have chats with yourself and us, with anything you've got, as I said, your journey along the way, definitely let us know.
Cool. No worries. Well, thanks so very much for everyone that did attend today. And if you have any questions, please come back to us and we'll go from there.
Perfect. Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate your time.
Yeah. Cheers.
Thank you.